Good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery with IIMFL and Smart Money Alliance. It is Monday morning, January 25th, 2021. Looks like a strong thunderstorm getting ready to pass through our area, so hopefully the internet connectivity will hold true. We're in a 100-year-old historic building, so it can become a little bit volatile with the extremely bad weather, but we should be fine. So we get together most weekday mornings at this time, 8 o'clock Central, or we usually get started about a minute beforehand, and we get together with our distribution partners. Three main distribution partner types. We have affiliates. It's free and easy to be an affiliate. Who wouldn't want to be an affiliate? It is not network marketing. It's not MLM, but we pay override commissions, so you can get paid generously to help others. Secondly, we have our credit literacy educators. These are our experts that are involved with helping individuals and small business owners boost their credit. We average a 100-point increase in 30 to 60 days, no upfront cost. Credit literacy educators make on average $300 for each client they refer in with no selling involved. And we also, again, have overrides. And then thirdly, at the cream of the crop, top of the mountain, we have our joint venture incubator partners, and they are in a 50-50 revenue share with us. And we're in the process of setting up physical offices, 100 of those across the country. Will provide you $25,000 of working capital. We want to have a true footprint in communities, 100 different communities by the end of 2021. So if you or someone else may be interested in becoming a joint venture incubator, consider that. And just by referring us someone that becomes a joint venture incubator partner, we will gladly pay you a $5,000 referral fee. Okay, so with all that being said, today is open forum. And so what that means is we need to make sure that we're addressing the questions, comments, concerns that each of you have. Now, if it's regarding your own individual participation or about a specific client, this is not the right setting for that. But if you lack clarity, understanding, or even confidence in the processes, in the deliverables, and how things work, I want to go through that today with you, because if you're thinking it, chances are others are as well. I was out Friday and attended a funeral. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I had numerous phone calls and emails from those of you that had questions. And I said, please join us Monday, 8 o'clock Central. Let's work on those together. So A, I can go through the grieving process properly, but secondly, so we can address the questions, comments, concerns that you have, and we can do that together. So that's what we're here to do. So we have a bunch of great minds on the call today, the Zoom, and we need to type in the questions, concerns, or comments you have. Again, if it's off of a specific client, this is not the right place to address it because of confidentiality. But if it has to do with the processes, the credibility, the programming, this is where we want to gather it, or address it, I should say. Okay, so go ahead and start typing those in. We've got the first one in from Elon. Elon is trying to understand what changed last week with the access to capital. So let me clarify. With the access to capital, we are now committed to getting clients their first tranche of financing, FTF, first tranche financing, within the first 30 days. So going forward, any client that's in access to capital, we want to get them funded right away if they're already past the second week point. And Elon, if for new clients that are coming aboard, we're going to look at funding solutions during our second week mentoring call and preferably have them funded before their third call. And David is one of our joint venture incubator partners. He's a great example of that. So we worked in collaboration. One of his clients going through this new process, he got his first tranche of financing last week, and David's getting a wire for $1,250 today, which is half of the $2,500 refundable deposit. And Dave is just one of, I think, 36 or so of you that are getting paid commissions today. But regardless of that, the point, Elon, is the 4-week process is outlined here. It hasn't changed with educational topics and implementation steps. But what we are doing on the week 2 mentoring call is preparing them for funding. And the goal is to get them funded before week 3 for their first tranche, FTF, First Tranche Financing. How much will it be? It varies based upon their credibility. Obviously, we don't have their loan package done yet. So this is not going to be the $100,000 or $1 million capital raise, but it can be the first tranche. At least we want it to cover the refundable deposit, because that covers our cost of building the loan package, and also gets the $1,000 if you're an affiliate, or $1,250 in your pocket right away. So thank you, Elon, for that question. Anna Marie asked, for the joint incubator, what will the office be handling? That's a great point. So with the joint venture incubator, and we talked about this on last week's training, with the joint venture incubators, which we used to call the branch offices, it's to have a physical office in your community. And we talked about some of those criteria on a webinar last week. With that being said, then there's 2 primary activities that should be going on in your physical office if you're running one. Number 1 would be education. So if your area is open enough that you're able to do in-person education, we want to do that, because we know that's a great funnel builder and a great way to connect with key influencers. And then secondly, the physical offices will have physical staff, and we'll be doing the mentoring over this 4-week process for clients. So those are the 2 primary activities that's going to happen at your office, Anna Marie. So anyone that was interested in running a joint venture incubator, they were just alerted, let us know. We'll send over the DocuSign, and then we can get that going. So Anna Marie, if I didn't answer your question well enough, let me know. But otherwise, I think that's the answer. All right, so David is asking, can we do a 1-day course on the certification for small groups? No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So normally this process, the small business certification, it's a 4-week process, and it's done remotely on demand. If we're going to teach it in person, we can do it in 1 day together. And so we talked about this in a recent training. You'd get a host. The host provides the room. The host provides the audience. We mark it out. We have at least 20 people. Each person pays $396. You get half, we get half. So you're making right at $4,000 for this 1-day class. It does not work well to try to get people on a Zoom for 8 consecutive hours. This model doesn't work well like that. So we can either do it weekly on demand over 4 weeks, which is the norm, or we can get people together and knock this out in 1 day face-to-face. But we don't do an 8-hour Zoom. That would be a beating. Most people would multitask. Most people can't focus that long, and we can't provide the adequate support for the people that are going through it. Great question, David. Okay, others. Now, I know there's more questions because I was being pinged throughout the weekend with lots of questions and concerns and questions of process. So please go ahead and type those in and let us know what questions. All right, so Kwong has a prospect for a workshop. So Kwong, what you're going to do is you're going to use our Calendly link, aren't you? And you're going to schedule a 3-way call, which means you schedule a Calendly, and then I'll call you, and then you'll pull in the pastor, and we'll go through the benefits of doing an in-person workshop. So that is how that works, Kwong. Needs to be a warm handoff. So you're on the call, we're on the call. Okay, other questions that anyone has regarding access to capital, the focus on getting funding for clients now. between weeks 2 and 3. That's great for the clients, and it's outstanding for you because it gets money in your pocket more quickly. Billy's asking, what should his focus be as a JV partner? Well, and Billy, I want to address one of your questions, if I may, that you emailed that you didn't ask here. I think some of you may get confused on the difference between being a joint venture incubator partner and enrolling as an incubator client. So those are two different roles, right? So if you, for instance, Billy, I feel that you're asking me, well, where's all this for you? Well, you didn't enroll as an incubator client. You are a joint venture incubator partner. So no, we've not done all these things for you. We can help you as you need, Billy. But this is the proposition for clients that are enrolled in your joint venture incubator. But that doesn't mean that when you sign up to be a joint venture incubator partner, that we're going out and buying you QuickBooks, for example. So you got to understand the difference between being a joint venture incubator partner where we run one of these together, which is great to help others, versus actually being a client. So for example, you could be a doctor and not be a patient, right? So they're two different roles. So we got to be clear on that. Now, in terms of your focus, Billy, as a joint venture incubator partner, what we need to do is make sure that you're properly trained, and the training's primarily here on the career page, and you've probably gone through that. By the way, this was the video that we did last week on the 21st regarding setting up the joint venture partnerships. But secondly, Billy, you have to develop campaigns, right? A campaign identifies which program you're taking out to the marketplace. So for example, if you want to focus on access to capital, then we have to identify who our target market audience is and how we're going to reach out to them. If you're wanting to focus on credit boost, which is yet a different tab, which is focused on and boosting personal credit scores by 100 points or more in the first 30 to 60 days, then we need to think through and develop a campaign of how we're going to reach out to these prospects. So that's what you want to do. And I think that's true, really, Billy, if you're a joint venture partner, or for those of you that are just simply an affiliate, you want to think in terms of, okay, I need a campaign. What am I pushing out? Who am I going to reach out to? What's the call to action going to be? We need to be campaign minded and then set goals. We recommend that the goals be at least one conversion per day for our joint venture partners, and that would be one a day per month in credit boost, and then one a day per month that's going through the capital raise. And those are really the two campaigns we have, right? Access to capital, no upfront cost, no minimum credit scores, no minimum time in business to be able to have a guaranteed $100,000 capital raise. Now, with the first tranche of capital raise, typically between weeks 2 and 3, that's awesome. Second campaign is credit boost. So any of you that don't have clarity in what your campaign is, you need help, that's where we need to schedule one-on-ones to flush through that. David asked a great question on the FTF, the first tranche financing. Can the client request more than $2,500? The answer is absolutely yes. And let's dig into FTF a little bit more, David. So again, FTF, first tranche financing, is going to be happening now procedurally for clients between weeks 2 and 3. So in other words, we talk about it with them in week 2, and then our goal for them is to be funded by week 3. Our goal is that 95% of the clients going through access to capital get funded first tranche by week 3 to at least pay for their refundable deposit, which covers our cost of building a loan package and gets $1,250 in your pocket. David's question is, can they ask for more than $2,500? Absolutely. We have a couple different vehicles to get the first tranche of financing, and there's not a cap on that. Frankly, it could be as high as $75,000. That's about the uppermost boundary for FTF, but it may be as little as $2,500. The when we're applying for that, the nice thing, David, is we can go in and have the client request 2,500, but if they qualify for more, then the lender will extend them more. So again, we try all these processes internally and beta test them before we roll them out. So when we first launched FTF, First Tranche Financing, I personally went in there and I put in a request for 2,500. It calculates and it came back with a bunch of offers. And I think I get like 25 or 30 different offers from different lenders. And mine ranged up to $12,400. So if the individual qualifies for more, they will certainly be able to get more than 2,500 with the FTF. And that happens automatically. They don't have to do something different, David. And what we're really going to try to do is walk them through that FTF application whenever possible. So for any of your clients that are looking to get the first round, the first tranche of financing, just make sure that they're scheduling their weekly calls with whomever is assigned as their mentor. And then we will be walking them through that application process on the phone. We can get that done in less than 15 minutes, and they're typically getting funded in 2 to 3 days after that. Very quick. Great question, David. And that's exactly what we're here to do today. So today is open forum, and open forum means fire away the questions that you have, because I was gone away to a funeral over the weekend, and man, my phone was blowing up and getting emails from a lot of you, which is fine. And I asked you, please let me take care of what I needed to over the weekend. Let's get together now. And that's really what we're going to focus on these morning calls. We will typically have an educational lesson, but most importantly is to field through your questions, especially processes and procedures. Okay, so let's see. Barry asked, okay, yeah, on Credit Boost, when we're taking a client through Credit Boost, we tell them, give us 30 to 60 days for the trade lines to post. And that's the answer to the question, Barry, 30 to 60 days. Now, normally what we're going to do is add 2 or 3 trade lines in the first 30 days, get those queued up to post, again, within a 30 to 60 day window, and then see how that looks. And then at that point, then we can make some decisions. Do we need to add more, or have we met the client's goal? So Barry was asking 2 questions. How long for the trade lines to show? 30 to 60 days. And then he was also asking, how many trade lines do we offer normally? Because realize the trade lines that we're offering are to move a person from where they are to where they qualify for mainstream prime funding. So it's not to go it's the bridge from where they are to where they need to be to go get normal mainstream funding in most cases, and or to fix their credit profile so they qualify for mainstream funding. So if they're also an access to capital client, of course, by going through the Credit Boost, then we're able to go after the 100,000 plus funding by getting their credit profile where it needs to be. Hopefully that answered your question or questions, Barry. Kwong asks, right way to introduce to prospects. And so, Kwong, I'm assuming that you're referring to potential hosts for the workshop. And so I would say something like this. Hey, Pastor Moore, I'm working with a 501c3 nonprofit. We've received grant funding to help improve financial literacy, improve credit scores, and facilitate the development of minority-owned small businesses. We have a one-day workshop that we'd like to discuss having with you here at your church for your congregation and the community. It's normally a 4-week process. It was developed off of a full college course, but we're able to do it now in a concise one-day fashion. So all the participants, they'll learn a lot, but they'll also walk away with a lender-compliant loan package and a capital match. And then so with that, Kwong, you can show them this, you can show them the video. We've had some other trainings on that. And then either some will just say, yes, let's schedule it. Others will say, well, I need to learn more. So what you do is again, schedule a 3-way call. And essentially your scripting for that, Kwong, would be, well, great. How about I schedule a 3-way call with one of the nonprofit's founders, so you and I and he can get on the call and answer any questions. So that works out pretty well, Kwong. But there's no exact way to do it. But that's the goal, is to help them understand what we're going to do and then get their commitment. All right, David's asking about performance fees. Very, very good question. So for clients that are going through the Access to Capital is not a free program. It's not a free program. There's no upfront cost, but it's not a free program. There is a refundable deposit. It is refundable. We wait until the first capital raise to invoice them for that. Once we've invoiced them for that, then we split that with you, David. That wasn't your question. The performance fee applies to the entire capital raise, 6%. And so a lot of times we won't charge it on the first $2,500, which is used for the refundable deposit. But frankly, the way the agreement's written, we could. But the bottom line is, let's say they get a $10,000 capital raise, then they would owe 6% of that as a performance fee, which is $600. And of course, that's split 50-50 with you, David, once the client pays. So you're right, David. Normally, we won't invoice them the performance fee on the first $2,500. That covers the cost of the refundable deposit. Anything above that, we will. But if they have a larger capital raise, $25,000, $50,000, $75,000, then we'll go ahead and normally invoice them the 6% all the way from $1, which the contract allows, as well as the refundable deposit. Great question, David. All right, so Jim asks, when a prospect responds to a credit boost ad and we find out that they want to boost their score to get business funding, okay, and I'm going to paraphrase Jim and you can tell me. So going back earlier in the call, Billy asked, well, what do I do? And I said, well, the first thing you need to do is figure out the campaign that you're running. And again, to clarify, we have 2 primary campaigns: Access to Capital for small businesses that need capital to start or grow a business. No upfront cost, $100,000 minimum capital raise guarantee, no minimum credit score, no minimum time in business to qualify. And then the second campaign is Credit Boost, which is here, no upfront cost, applicable to small business owners, but individuals alike. We add new positive credit, normally adding 100 or more points in the first 30 to 60 days. So Jim's saying, well, what if I have a client that really needs both? There's 2 divergent views on this, and I'll tell you my preference is, if you see that they're a candidate for both Credit Boost and the Access to Capital, don't refer them in for Credit Boost. That's going to happen organically, right? Because as we take them through the 4-week process for Access to Capital, we're going to be looking at credit in week 2, not only business credit, but personal credit. So we'll see if they need Credit Boost. And if they do, then we'll recommend that to them. And you're not losing any commissions by you not being the one that triggered that conversation. If you brought the client in, then you qualify for the commission for it. So Jim, if you see someone is looking to raise capital to start or grow a business, I would not enroll them in Credit Boost. I would enroll them or refer them in for Access to Capital. That way we start going through this 4-week sequence and we'll organically identify that they're also a Credit Boost client and pick up on that in week 2. If some of you are submitting prospects for both at the same time, and that puts us in a real dilemma, because I don't think it's best practice to go send 2 DocuSigns to the same client at the same time for 2 different programs. I think that can be overwhelming for them. So my preference, now if you want us to send both, then we will, but our preference is, let's enroll them in Access to Capital first if their goal is to raise capital to start or grow a business, and Credit Boost will come along organically in just week 2. Some of you have challenged that and said, well, if I know they need Credit Boost, I want to get that process started as soon as possible, so I'm going to submit them in for both. But we're the ones that get these leads in, And then we have to make a decision. How do we act upon that lead? And if they show us that they're looking both for access to capital and credit boost, a lot of times we will not send them credit boost right away. We'll send them access to capital because I think it makes more sense to bring the client in on one program, let them start to see some value. You know, they'll be working on their business plan and they'll have their first mentoring call. Things are going well. Then we look at their credit through a soft credit pull, realize, there's some opportunity to improve. Have you heard about credit boost? And we move them into that. So that is our preference. But some of you only want to do credit boost, which I can understand. It's minimal amount of time, minimal amount of headaches, a lot of money for you. And if that's what you want to do, then that's fine. We'll follow your lead. Thank you, Jim. Yep, and we'll send out today's recording the way that we normally do. All right, so Joseph's asking, I guess it's a question. So we are collecting the $2,500 on the first tranche and then refund it back to them after their funding. Yes, and specifically, Joseph, the way that the agreement reads is that once they've reached $100,000 capital raise, which is the guarantee we've made to them to help them accomplish, and it's also the guarantee that they've made to us that they'll work with us on that. That's when their deposit is refundable. Kind of like if you and I went to go release an apartment, Joseph, and we put a deposit down when we move in, and as long as we complete, for example, a 12-month lease, then we get the deposit back. So we did what we said we would do. The deposit is refundable. All right, so that's clarifying part of Joseph's question. The other part is, will they have some payments to make between? Okay, that's a great question. So Joseph's saying, okay, so we go get them their first tranche of funding between weeks 2 and 3. That's our focus now. Now, how much will they get? Depends upon how much they qualify for. I can tell you when I went through, I applied for $2,500 and I got about 5-fold of that. It's going to vary by individual how much they receive. Some will get a lot, some won't qualify at all, right, for first tranche financing, because again, it's not based upon the loan package, which has not been completed yet. So once they take the first tranche financing, then that is usually it's a bridge instrument. It's a short-term play. Usually it's only going to be around for about 90 days and we'll pay that off once they get their full business funding. But you're right, Joseph, in that, for instance, 90-day period, then they may very well need to service that debt. So if they borrowed $2,500, for example, and that covers the cost of the refundable deposit, that gets you paid, Joseph, $1,250, then most likely the lender would expect them to pay on it over that 3-month time. So that's a correct statement. So it might be wise for them to even consider accepting an offer of more than $2,500. So now they have extra liquidity, they have extra money parked in their bank account, they have working capital, and they even have a buffer to service the debt. But the short answer to your question, Joseph, is yes. When someone takes a tranche of funding, then typically there will be a repayment plan established with the lender in short order. But remember, Joseph, we're doing them a favor, right? We're saying, hey, you don't have to pay the refundable deposit up front. We'll finance it for you. We'll get funding to cover that $2,500 that the client promised to pay, which is a refundable deposit for the loan package. And so we're doing them a favor. They're not going to be surprised, or they shouldn't be surprised. Oh, wait, I owe $2,500. Well, yeah, you promised to pay a refundable deposit, but we promised to wait until your first round of capital to invoice you for it. That's a heck of a deal, right? So now the program is funding itself. Thank you, Joseph, for that. Thank you, Barry. Okay, again, we've got some great minds on here, and frankly, some of you are not producing. Some of you are. Anna Marie, I see the referrals coming through. Awesome. Barry, the same for you. Billy, the same for you. David, awesome. James, doing great. Jim, you're a superstar. But some of you are running on fumes, right? So though you all should be the most active asking, in my opinion, asking the questions right now. What is it that doesn't make sense to you? What is it that you don't know how to do? Why is it that you're not on track to make at least $10,000 from us this month? right? Because each access to capital referral, even if you're just an affiliate, rank and file affiliate, you're getting $1,000, $1,000 off of each one now in the first 30 days. In addition to, of course, sharing in the backside of the performance fee of their entire capital raise, which might be $100,000 or it might be $1 million or more. But now you can be assured that in most cases, you're going to get at least $1,000 in the first 30 days of every client. This is a big deal. Now, we talked about this last week. We did not change the agreement with you. We did not change the agreement with the clients, but we were a little bit too relaxed in getting the first tranche of financing in the past. Now we realize that it's very motivating to you all if we get that first $1,000 in your pocket in the first 3 weeks. And so we're just simply working more aggressively with a client in week 2 to apply for the first tranche of financing. There's no minimum credit score that they have to get approved for first tranche of financing, but it's not a gift either, right? So what we're going to do is look at their circumstances and help them identify the right type of FTF, first tranche financing. And again, it's not too good to be true. Not everyone will qualify for FTF based upon how they've managed their life circumstances. It's before the loan package is done. Not everyone will qualify for FTF. Our projection is, though, that about 95% will, and the dollar amounts could range from $2,500 up to about $75,000. That's really the spread of FTF. And you know, and I know, people often aren't very financial literate, and they'll say, well, I just want $75,000 then. Well, if you qualify for that, that's what we'd like you to have too, right? Because that's your first tranche. Now you're happy. We're paying our referral partners, but there's not a magical wand, right? They have to qualify for it. And how much they qualify for FTF is not based upon the business plan and financial projections and all that that's still being worked on. It's based upon where they're at now. But just to be clear, they don't have to have any minimum credit score to qualify for FTF. Okay, so questions that anyone has that we're here to cover. So today's turned into more of an open forum discussion to address the questions and concerns you all have, because again, I was out at a funeral over the weekend. It was great to hear from many of you, but I got bombarded with emails and phone calls, and I said, okay, let's go ahead and gather Monday morning, as we do each weekday morning in general, and let's cover those questions. Now, if you have a question about a specific client, then this isn't the place to address it. But if it's a question about process or concept or credibility, let's address it here. Does anyone have any questions that we can help you with today before we end the call? Because I'm not in a hurry, but there's just no more questions popping up. Anyone else have questions, comments, concerns that we need to address today? Okay, so let me summarize, and if one comes up, post it. So we get together most weekday mornings, 8 a.m. Central, or a minute or so before, on Zoom. You should be actively out recruiting affiliates. They're sub-affiliates of yours. It's free and easy to be an affiliate. There's no cost. It's not network marketing. It's not MLM. Recruit, 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 because some of these people have a wide sphere of influence, and they're going to be able to flood your sales funnel. You get overrides. You can get overrides off the credit boost side. You can get overrides on the access to capital. Both of those programs we take out to the marketplace with no upfront cost to the client. So to no surprise, we can cast very wide nets, reaching out to the underserved populations by providing them resources to improve their personal credit and or access capital to start or grow a business with no upfront cost. So build a team. And then understand how simple it is. We provide you landing pages. You don't have to sell anything to anyone. Just simply create awareness and drive them into your landing page. And again, I might have misspoke. It's FTF, First Tranche Financing, Kwong. I'm sorry if I mentioned FTS. I got in very late last night. FTF, First Tranche Financing. All right, so David asked, if a client signs up as an affiliate based upon the document. Okay, so this is a great question. And it's kind of a heated topic, but you're going to be very satisfied with the outcome. What we're seeing is about 50% of access to capital clients, about 50% of Credit Boost clients as well. So we'll just say about 50% of clients want to become a distribution partner. If I were you, I would be communicating that out to the prospects that you speak with. And so you can get them signed up as a sub-affiliate under you. We had a training on that last week. Cost them nothing, cost you nothing. And now you get overrides from them. That wasn't David's question, though. David's question is, well, what happens if they become an affiliate, but he didn't technically cause it, so they didn't use his link in Post Affiliate Pro, so now they're not under his hierarchy? All you need to do is let us know. We're not here to steal any business from you or cut you out of any commissions. So, David, if you have someone that signs up as an affiliate and they accidentally sign up direct to us instead of under your position, just simply email us and let us know. We're more than happy to move them over under your hierarchy. So bam, you're getting override commissions. So we're actively looking to build our distribution team. We offer that opportunity to everyone. And so but it never circumvents you, David, or other distribution partners. And so if it was your contact, frankly, you could be talking to them about being an affiliate as well. But if they sign up direct to corporate, then all you got to do is let us know, and then we can move them over in Post Affiliate Pro, and you're just fine. You're taken care of. So that's the answer. But no, I would not say, because Post Affiliate Pro is a standalone engine. So I don't want you to think that, and we're adding, we've got massive numbers, which we're blessed to have. We have massive numbers of affiliates and more coming on every day. So no, we don't reconcile in Post Affiliate Pro over to our CRM to say, oh, Joe Smith was originally a referral by David. Let's make sure that we move Joe Smith under David's hierarchy. It frankly doesn't work that way. We're authorizing or approving applications to become an affiliate, and it's just authorizing them and putting them into whatever hierarchy they applied under. So that's not foolproof. However, if you feel that someone should be in your hierarchy and is not, as long as they've not been placed under someone else's hierarchy that you'd be taking from them, it's very, very easy for us to move them over. So that is an easy fix. All right. And so David's asking about the business credit building program. So the first 501c3 that we started, called Business Credit Literacy Initiative, which is still in good standing, still operational, still website still up, was focused narrowly on building business credit, not personal credit, and not a general loan package, which is often needed. So we have inquiries off of the business credit building program, but we've dovetailed that in. So currently we do not enroll anyone individually into just the business credit curriculum. Now they come into Access to Capital, which is the overall campaign, which includes building business credit. So going forward, I don't think that you'll run into any issues. So again, is building business credit a hot topic out there? Absolutely. We get a lot of conversations, a lot of doors open with it. Absolutely. But our solution to that problem is the Access to Capital program, not a standalone offering any longer. All right. Well, we went a few minutes long. Again, hopefully this open forum was helpful. I'm more than happy to schedule individual calls with you, but we do need to seek, whenever we can, try to bring your questions, comments, concerns about processes, procedures, credibility, any of those larger items to this forum, because it gives us an opportunity to vet through them efficiently. Others can learn from your questions, and you may very well learn from them. Okay, last question here. Is the IIMFL joint venture still available? Yeah. So if you go up here, well, frankly, in any of the pages on IIMFL, but specifically if they go to the careers tab and you scroll down, you'll see this heading, which isn't necessarily real clear, that talks about the joint venture relationship. a number of trainings. And if you have someone that's interested, scroll all the way to the bottom, and then they would, of course, put their contact information and check this box. If you refer them in, Kwong, and they become a joint venture partner, you get $5,000, and they get $25,000 of working capital to start up their local office. All right, thanks everyone. Have a great day. We'll be getting caught up today with all the leads and new clients. You all are doing a great job. See you back tomorrow. Bye-bye.